Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of the Aravaipa Rides podcast. This is your race director, Aaron, coming at you live from the podcast room here at Aravaipa headquarters. We got the old crew, the old gang back together. I've got Robert and Marion are from the Aravaipa race team back, so welcome back, guys.
Thank you.
And Marion especially, big welcome back to the team after taking a year off to explore other teams, realize that this is where it's at.
Grass is not always greener elsewhere.
And so, yeah, welcome back to the Cool Kids Club, as I was saying, joking offline. So, yeah, let's just jump into it. So this is going to be sort of a season preview podcast today. We're going to talk about all the races coming up this year for Aravaipa. But first, I just want to, throw it back to you guys and talk about what you've been up to for a while. Marion, we'll start with you. Aside from not being on the team, I didn't see you at all the races because you were doing a bunch of other races last year. Yeah. I think the last time we saw each other and actually got to hang out a little bit was Big Woody, as you were just mentioning, before we started recording. So let's see. So since Big Woody, what's been going on like the last half of the year?
So I did a bunch of gravel races actually. So I went over to Aravaipa Rides.
Okay.
Don't get bothered about this.
That's all right.
They had a race up in Pine Top that's called Pinewood Showdown. That was really beautiful, pristine gravel roads. It was gorgeous. And then I did Chino Grinder I think it's in September as well. That one's rough, but
okay.
I guess everyone goes for that one. Is pretty competitive, so it was fun. It's really bumpy.
Okay.
I don't know if I would do it again because it's kind of a dust bowl.
Okay.
Even if the vibe is fun.
Yeah.
And then more recently, I did the Duel in the Desert, which is pretty much you have to register for Belgian Waffle Ride. And then the weekend after that is the Cactus Cup.
Okay.
So you do the gravel race, and then you have to register for it's the 60 miler, so the Waffer, and then do all of I think it's only for the cross country on Saturday, but I did the whole 3 days of the Cactus Cup, so that was fun.
Mm-hmm. Very nice. Oh, so the Zia Ride is the new one, the Zia race that was up there at Pine Top.
I think it's a new one, yeah.
But it's at the same location as Tour of the White Mountains, or like the starting.
No, it's not actually.
It's
at a different ranch that is also super beautiful. It's a great venue for it. So the vibe was really awesome. We had live music, all the good stuff, vendors, and you have just a lot of room to park and camp out there. So it's very beautiful. Yeah.
And so all new course, different from Tour.
Yeah, correct. It's mostly just.
I guess I wasn't familiar with that too.
Yeah, those are mostly using gravel roads, like unpaved, and a little bit of road as well. So yeah.
I had thought I knew I couldn't do it last year when they announced because I had too much going on myself, but I had thought about it as an alternative to the Tour de White Mountains this year as a potential for myself just to check out. So good to know.
It is a good race. You should check it out.
Very good. Another one I wanted to know a little more about was Belgian Waffle Ride. They're definitely gaining in popularity. They've got some big turnouts at all their different locations. But talk about Phoenix or Scottsdale, I guess. What's that one about?
So it starts up in Cave Creek, and so from my course, the course that I did, it actually goes all the way down to McDowell, and then you loop back all the way back up to Cave Creek. So it's pretty technical. There's a lot of loose gravel. It's personally like my kind of race. Like I love all of that stuff.
Okay.
It's a long uphill on the road on the start, so you have time to position yourself, and then it's mostly single tracks. You actually climb up Escondido Trail in McDowell on a gravel bike, which is pretty it's tough.
Yep.
But it was great. I was bummed a little bit because I was sick the week before, so I didn't do too well, but I didn't want to not start, so I was like, okay, I'll just do it and do what I can. So
there you go.
But I'm glad I did it. Yeah.
Very cool. Is Belgian Waffle only gravel, or do they have cross-country options?
I believe it's only gravel. I think they have 4 other races, if I remember correctly. There was one in California. I don't know exactly where, but I think it's the 3rd year they do it in AZ. And it's the organization is pretty awesome as well. You get those like free little like protein waffle thingies at the end. It's pretty cool too.
Nice. Yeah. Very good. Well, welcome back once again. We're glad to have you.
Thank you.
We were hoping, ladies and gentlemen listening, to have the race kits today. I won't say promised, but I was told that we should have had them in the office this week, and we were going to actually do like a reveal right here on this episode. But unfortunately, no, they did not come. So unfortunately, we'll have to just do it another time. But so yeah, welcome back to the team, though. We're glad to have you back.
I'm glad to be here.
Yeah, Robert, yourself, what you been up to lately?
Next
Never
question,
mind.
please.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, next question, please.
Offline joke, ladies and
No,
gentlemen.
I'm still riding, but been doing a lot of volunteering.
Mhm.
Of course, coaching with NICA again this year. Season's coming to an end, so been doing a lot of obviously volunteering at the events, whether sweep, stationary marshal, stuff like that. So still out there riding the bike. Couple races this year. Did the prickly pedal. Did the shorter one.
Yeah.
Just to kind of test to see kind of where I was at and if I can still push hard for 15 miles.
Yeah.
Turned out okay.
Yeah.
And then got invited to join a team at the 24 Hours in El Pueblo.
Okay.
So went out there, had some fun doing that, got to hang out with everybody. So Red Rock has still got some fuel.
There you go.
Just haven't been using a lot of that fuel lately. So
Just saving it up.
yeah,
Saving it up.
yeah, just excited for the night series to kick back up again. Probably gonna end up doing the 6 hour because I haven't done that one yet.
Okay.
So that'd be a test for me going from pushing myself for a couple hours straight to kind of backing down a little bit and being able to go for 5.5, 6 hours.
Right.
So
Gotcha.
but yeah, ready to rock and roll.
Very cool. Very cool. Well, before we jump into, because the night races would be the first on the schedule to go, a couple things that I wanted to announce, kind of some administrative housekeeping kind of things that you might see. We have a couple of casual partnerships that we've formed with a couple bike shops here in town that I wanted to just put out there and announce because it's pretty cool. First off, Amigos in Ahwatukee. Right now, they are going to offer any of the Aravaipa racers 10% off any of the products that they purchase in the shop. Does not include service, but for service, they will put Aravaipa racers preferentially at the top, so you can get your bike in and out pretty quickly, get ready for those races. So thank you to Amigos. Also to Savage Bikes up in Surprise. They're going to bring their mobile mechanic van out to all of the night races this year. And they're going to, it'll be only cost will be the product. If you have to buy something to actually replace, any kind of new product, the service itself will be free. They'll actually throw a little tip jar. They said and I was cool with that. And then everything else will be free. So they'll take care of you, tune up the bike right before the race, or if you're having an issue after, one lap of that 6 hour race, you can go see them real quick and they can take care of it and get you back out there racing. So thank you to Savage Bikes also. All right, commercial's over. We'll jump into the races. First race up here is in April on the 25th is Sinister Santan Regional Park. It's a shorter course, about a 7.5 mile course loop there out there, but it's a pretty decent, pretty challenging. I know you guys have each done it. Quickly, what are your thoughts on going back to Santan?
So I actually won't be there for the first couple
Robert,
of
what
races.
are you thinking? Just kidding.
Rode there last night for practice, so we ride there all the time.
There
but
you go.
But they do a lot of trail maintenance out there, a lot of
Yes.
sand, so a lot of that has kind of gone away a little bit. So
Okay.
I would say overall it's in pretty good condition right now.
Great.
Did see our first rattlesnake last night, so they're
Okay.
out.
Yep.
But yeah, I think overall the park's ready to welcome us.
Ready to host bikes?
Yeah.
Nice.
Very good. And where are you going to be on the 25th? Can we ask?
I will be in France.
Okay.
Yeah.
She's going
I will
home
be
for a few
visiting my
weeks.
family. But,
That's all right.
yeah.
You get a pass.
Yeah.
You get a pass. Very good. All right. Moving on from Sinister, we have Adrenaline is the next race up in the night series, and that's at McDowell. Uses a little bit of Escondido, but we're not riding gravel bikes at that one particularly. You could bring it out if you want. Won't say no. Little bit of a shorter course than some of the others. Also, this one's about a 9 mile loop, but it's also a good one. I'm going to throw it to Robert first, since he's probably going to be here. He's already talking about it, and we're gonna see if you've made it back from France. But Robert, what do you think about Adrenaline?
Yeah, well, I've always liked that course. I hate riding Escondido, but at nighttime you like lose track of where you're at. And then so once you finish Escondido, do that small little climb, and on the way back, I mean you're pretty much in your hardest gear going as fast as you can. So
very cool.
That's a fun course at night.
Very
Really,
nice.
I like Escondido. It's a fun trail.
No.
What do you
Not your
mean?
friend.
They have Escondido in France.
Wrong
nice
language.
climb.
Escondido is definitely not in France.
Exactly.
Translation, please. So since we're asking, what is it about the trail that you're not a fan of?
I don't know. I've just never really cared for Escondido.
Okay,
Yeah.
fair enough.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's just a feeling.
Yeah. It's just a
Yeah.
feeling about that. I don't know what it is.
Huh.
Yeah,
Okay.
very good.
What do you like about Escondido?
Yeah.
I like that it's I mean, I like climbing, and I think it's pretty enjoyable. Like, you get a nice view from up there, and then once you get to the top, you can kind of see the plateau, and then you know that it's all downhill from there. So, I mean, unless you continue on the Pemberton climb, but
Yeah.
if you loop back around, it's pretty nice. Oh, I like it. Not on a gravel bike though. I will definitely ride my mountain bike on this thing. Yeah.
Funny story. Don't tell the Belgian waffle people. So I actually put together a gravel loop for this particular race as a nighttime gravel option, which we didn't go for this year. Maybe we'll get to expand into gravel at nighttime in future years. And of course, not every park has a really good gravel loop, right? So not every Insomniac race would probably get one, but I think there's like 2 or 3 that I've picked out that we could make a really good gravel loop with. So the first time I took a gravel bike was Robert's old pivot. He had let me ride it for a couple of weeks, which turned into like maybe 4.
Yeah.
But because I wanted to kind of just get the feel of a gravel bike, and so our friend Joe and myself went out and we decided to do. I'm not sure the exact loop anymore, but it started with Escondido. So my first time on a gravel bike, on a clip-in bike, on Robert's bike, was on Escondido. I kind of had the same feeling. I'm just like, I don't like this anymore. somebody get me off.
Set you up for success there.
But I made it. I didn't fall any times. I couldn't fall because it wasn't my bike, and I couldn't afford to fix it if I did. So I had to stay upright, wheels down. So yeah, made it all the way through. I've done it a couple of times since, as I was kind of putting that loop together and figuring out where to make the left and the right and whatnot. Like I said, it's not anything that's going to happen just yet. But yeah, that was my first gravel experience was on Escondido. So I've since found that there are better gravel trails.
Yeah, for sure.
But I've done it a couple times, and I'll admit it's not the greatest. I certainly would at least rather be on my cross country bike than the gravel bike if I was riding it. But
Yeah.
it's got it has its moments.
Yeah, and it's definitely rideable. I mean, it's rideable.
Oh, it's doable. Yeah.
For sure.
Actually, it was actually funny. So after I have the loop done. Like there's a definitive loop that if we ever go for it, I can pull the trigger. Boom, it's ready to go. I had our friends. I had a couple of our friends. Their names are completely drawing a blank. Hopefully they don't watch this. But I had them come out to the race last year to Adrenaline, and I said, guys, I just want you to ride this loop. Here, gave them the course description, like let everybody go. So all of the 6 hours, all the 3 hour guys, and I'm like, just go out and ride this loop. I want it done at night by people who are like really good gravel riders, and come back and tell me what you think. And it got thumbs up all around. So.
Didn't you have Dave and Trevor do that?
That's who it was. Thank you very much.
I remember. I was like, what are you guys doing on your gravel bike?
That's right. Yep, it was Dave and Trevor.
There you go.
So yeah, I brought those 2 guys out, and did they have anyone else? I know it was them. They might have brought another friend. It might have been 3 of them. But anyway, yeah. So they did it. They just followed the thing that I gave them on their phone, and came back, and they're just like, yeah, we need to do this more often. So I'm like, well, maybe we'll just do it more often. I don't know. We may not make it a race, but who knows? Adrenaline gravel might happen in the future.
Yeah, I think it'd be big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, people are really into gravel these days.
Yeah, and I don't think I've seen any races at night. I'm sure people ride at night. Where we live, we have to during the summer. But I don't know of any, and I've been researching and just watching YouTube, races from around the country, and it's all day races. It's all
unless you get some of those like the Outbound where they're riding throughout the night and stuff. But It still starts in the daytime and all that. Yeah. But no, I think you through those categories, you definitely get some gravel racers out there.
And the Insomniac aren't meant to be like, your A number one, this is the race, your A race, right? Your A race. It's, it's the Friday night, go out, have fun, whether you're doing 3 hours or 1 loop or 6 hours, it's, to have fun, see some of the local racers. We're not pulling in, national celebrities on the scene. Because it is a smaller, shorter distance, and it's different, right? Not everyone even wants to ride at night, so it's a completely different. So I think it would just be, for those who are into the niche, like, all right, I like gravel racing, I like riding at night. Let's put it together and see what we can do. Fun. All right, we're gonna take a step away from the night races because after that we have after Adrenaline we have Big Woody, This year it's going to be the 22nd of June on Sunday, up in Flagstaff, Fort Tuttle. Nothing different there than what we've offered in the past, all the same categories. And back for a second year will be the adaptive category as well.
Nice.
So working with Truman and High Country Adaptive Sports, as well as Kate down here at Ability 360, to get the word out and do some group rides actually with them too. Um, but yeah, so that'll be a great, it's a great fun thing. But you guys have both come up there again, Marianne, as we were saying earlier. You know, this last time I think I saw you and saw you for any length of time too. We got to hang out a little bit the night before.
Yeah.
What do you guys think of that race, Marianne? I'll let you go first. What about the loop up in Fort
I
Tuttle?
love the loop. First of all, it's really nice to get out of the city at that time of the year, and you get to camp at Fort Hill. It's perfect. It's just beautiful. It's like a different scenery,
Yeah.
less desert, more trees.
For
So
sure.
definitely, really love that one. Yeah.
Very cool. Robert, how about you?
Yeah, it's awesome
that?
out there. I mean, it's not too far to drive. I'm probably going to do the run the
Okay.
following night or the night
The night
before. I
before.
think.
That's
Yeah,
true,
it
there's a
was.
run too.
Yeah, it was fun. That was actually a really fun run to do. But yeah, no, I love that course out there. Once again, it's nice to be in the pine trees and
Yeah.
running over, pine cones and stuff rather than cactus and stuff like that. So yeah,
Yeah.
Sure.
are we doing the same course as last year?
Same course.
Okay.
Yep. No changes to the course
Okay.
this year. Yeah, same exact loop. So lots
Cool.
of sandy trail, but with big rocks and stuff to go around and over and up and all that stuff too. So
Yeah, no, it's a great venue, great course.
Yeah, so it
Yeah.
has a good mix because there's some techie single track rocky
Yeah.
stuff, and then just like this open and wide. And I'm just looking at the map. The whole like backside, it's like flowy single track.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's where you flow. It's awesome.
But that first part of the Highline loop, where
Right.
there's a lot of rock,
And the
Yeah.
climb,
a lot of
yeah,
technical, and then you
climb up
climb
to the
out of
power
it.
lines and everything.
Yeah.
So and even
Yeah.
a little bit of a dirt road and the power line road too. So you've got a little bit of just gravelly stuff that throws a little bit of everything at you.
Yeah, the good thing
Mhm.
about that course is once you get up those climbs and you get onto like the Jeep roads, that single trail's coming.
Oh,
Mhm,
yeah.
And if
so
you
you
jump
can
on that,
motor.
and then it's
Mhm.
a blast all the way back.
Just sail home. Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Very cool. Awesome. All right, we're flowing right along here. Entering July, Stunner, Usury, back at the night races. Arguably, probably the easiest course, I would say,
Yes.
less in the sense of technical trail. We're just talking about flowy on the backside of Big Woody. I mean, this is flowy almost except for like the last 2 miles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It somehow is downhill all the way. It's a 10-mile loop,
Yeah, pretty much,
point to
yeah.
point. Somehow you go downhill all the way, except for like that last 2 mile. You do have to climb up the last two. Probably, Usury is probably one of the places that I tell people, and when they're getting on their feet on a mountain bike, brand new riders, I'm like, that's a great place to go.
Same
You can
here.
pretty much go anywhere in that park,
Mhm.
and as long as you stay on the lower side, right? Don't go up the mountain a little bit, but stay on the lower side of the park. There's plenty of trails. They're all super easy, all green trails, great just to get your feet wet and get going. You guys obviously aren't new to riding. Both very very expert on technical and flow. What do you guys think of it?
I like it. It's fast and fun,
Mm-hmm.
and if you're tired, it's Friday night. You don't have a lot of brain power left from work. You can just go and
Yep.
I like the first part because you get to slalom between those all the cactus that's everywhere, and it's a really good way to just push yourself. Like you can go fast, so you might feel a little bit cooler because I would say this one. I think it's one of the hottest ones.
Definitely.
But yeah, it's also a pretty cool venue to camp at.
Yeah.
So yeah, I really like it.
Yep. How about you, Robert?
Yeah, I like it's close to home. I mean, it's not as close as Santan, but
Right.
no, I think that one draws a lot of just that local scene right there because it's by Hawes and everything else.
Right.
But
Right.
yeah, I mean that course suits my style.
Yep.
Joe Shea, I still have the KO in, by the way. So it suits my style of riding because it's just fast, flowy. County line kind of sucks because it's just that rock. So you go
Yeah.
from nice,
Yeah.
flowy to a bunch of bouncy rocks,
Yep.
and then you get back on and Meridian, I think it is, and start heading back. But yeah,
Yeah.
I love that. I love that trail. Of
Yeah.
course.
Yeah, it's great.
Yeah.
I think the addition, if you start looking at the environment around it too, the chain fruit, those cacti, they
Yeah.
throw that first loop when there's still a little bit of light,
Yeah.
and they're just like the silhouettes of those, like totally different cacti than any other that we really see around here. And it's just a really, really cool thing as you're going through that forest in that first half. And it's just like these, I don't know, just it's a different look, right? So it's
Yeah.
not just
Mm.
the normal that we see. So Yeah, I think a lot of people are enjoy that one as well. It's right next to Hawes, so it's already a mecca in this area
Right.
for mountain biking. So it brings out people. I spoke with her earlier today, but our social media director Jen Laughlin here at Aravaipa is getting on a bike essentially for the first time. She can ride a bike, of course, but has never ridden a mountain bike. As she said, she's dabbled in it, and she's putting it as a little project for herself to go ride. And she's already registered for Stunner, so she can't back out.
Nice.
She's registered currently for the single loop, but she actually wants to do, she thinks, the 3 hour, just to give her like, she's like, I know I can do one loop and finish. And it's not the endurance thing about the 3 hour that throws her. She wants to have the ability to say, I did one. Now now I'm comfortable. Let me do
There you
another
go.
lap and like
There
get
you
out
go.
there and stay out there. Because for her as a runner, that she doesn't know, I guess, the biking etiquette and the biking racing, how it goes. And so she says she knows she'll feel a little off put by racing at first and probably a little intimidated. So she wants that like second ability to have a second lap to like get out there and stay out there for again. So
Yeah, that's
we're
cool.
looking forward to seeing that project unfold with her. And she's told me for years that she's going to go do the women's clinic in November, the Soirée, and then she always begs off something at the very end. Like something else comes up,
Something's always, yeah.
yeah. So she's never even come out for that. So she asked me earlier. She's like, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do Stunner. I'm going to come out. We're going to do this. So she's all gung ho for it right now. So it just goes to show that it's a nice and easy course for someone who's new. Riding a bike, and she said she's riding an old bike. I still haven't seen it yet, aside from like some pictures.
That's awesome.
She says, I want to say 2003, so
Oh,
we might
damn.
be looking at some really ancient technology right now when it comes to mountain bikes, anyway.
Yeah, but I kind of feel what she's talking about, because like the runs that we've been to,
Yeah.
you look around and you're like, I have no idea what's going on around here, and you know,
Right.
what you're wearing stands out a little bit. Like, I'm not a tutorial, but yeah. So
And that was one of the things she commented
Yeah.
too. She's like, I'm wearing like tennis shoes. I'm just wearing a t-shirt. Like, is this, what sunglasses do I wear? I'm like, seriously, no one's going to like care about the sunglasses that you're wearing.
Oh
It's
my
Night
not about-
anyway. No
Yeah,
one's gonna
exactly.
see what you're
Yeah,
wearing.
Right.
no sunglasses. How about
Right.
that?
So yeah, that was what I was telling him. Like, the mountain bike community is not, don't be intimidated by them. They ride by fast on the trail when you're running, but it's not because that they're big, mean, ugly people. Don't be intimidated. So, hopefully her project goes well and she has a good time. And
That's awesome.
she's not doing any coaching. I don't know if I mentioned that either. She's kind of doing it, as she goes. So she's got a friend who's kind of helping her, but she's not doing any like professional coaching or tips or tricks, or got some ideas of things. We might bring her onto a cast and see what we can do with her too, and
There we go.
give her some
Nice.
time to maybe bounce some ideas off people. But yeah, I think it's just goes to show it's it's the one that she looked at. She's like, I know that course. I've run it. I can ride a bike on it and be okay.
Yeah, that's a good project.
So it's a great one to
That's good,
start.
yeah.
Anyone who's out there and not really sure, it's a great one to jump into. If there's one that you're going to do and you're concerned about the course, that's the easy one to do for sure.
Yeah.
Not so easy is the next one, Vertigo, and not really for anything aside from the back end of the coming down the last mountain. Not the last mountain, but the last portion of that loop. Technical, yeah, more so at night for sure. Is it a challenge? Yeah, it's absolutely the double black diamond, not quite. Vertigo's over at White Tanks. It's going to be August 8th this year. Marianne, I'll start with you. How do you feel about the Vertigo course? It's another one of the shorter courses too. Truly short. I think it's itself another 7 miles.
Yeah, 7 or 8. Yeah.
I personally like that one. I know we do a similar course for NBA races,
Yes.
but I like the more techie stuff. So I really like this back mountain. At night, you feel like if you're usually tight, kind of scared of what's coming, you don't see any of it. So I feel like you're like just going and then discovering as you go. But it's actually pretty nice. I really like camping there also, because it's really like, it's not too far from the city, but it's far enough that you can feel like you're really like in a regional park and in nature.
Yep.
So yeah, I really like that course. And in the back, once you're done with the back of the mountain, it's pretty fast and flowy back to the finish. So
Sure.
it's pretty cool. Yeah.
The back of the mountain is like Escondido for Robert. Like if you can't see it, he's
Yeah.
fine with riding
Yeah.
as long as you can see it.
Especially at night. Yeah,
At
the
night.
switchbacks at night aren't.
Right.
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on the Vertigo course?
Yeah, well, from a technical standpoint, yeah, that's one of the trail systems I do like for technical. We were out there for Nike a couple weekends ago. We don't do the switchback.
Right.
but just riding the flow of that course and stuff. And now on the way back, it's nice and flowy. But yeah, that switchback I did it last year on single speed.
That's right.
Can't make it all the way up on a single speed, but geared, I've done it many times.
Yep.
But yeah, that's one of the more technical little. They have a few little drops here and there.
Yeah.
But I actually, I've done well out there, and then see what happens with the weather. Right, we always get a little rain or it does something the days before. But
True.
yeah,
Where-
no, that's a fun course. It's always been fun racing out there.
Yeah, where with Stunner is almost always one of the hotter courses days that we nights that we race in this particular series. Vertigo is almost guaranteed the weather of some sort.
Yeah.
We haven't been rained out yet, but the runs have been, the night after us. We've had rain, but we've never had something that, forced us to shut down. And of course, by August, the monsoon, if it is going to develop, it's going to develop pretty hardcore. So you get, if it rains, you're going to get some lightning and thunder. And it looks pretty nasty for a second.
Yeah. I think, when was it? Was it like 2 years ago that we had thunder and lightning and it was freaking gorgeous? I'm sorry, but I wouldn't stop riding for that. It was awesome.
I think it was 3 years ago we did cut it short. I think we stopped it.
I remember we had a duo out there.
We stopped it at midnight.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's just the 6 hour. Whoever there's just a few people left on the 6 hour. Who got affected, but it got to the point where at midnight I'm like, it's getting a little close, and safety. We've got to take care of safety. But I think other than that, we've certainly never been rained out where we had to cancel. And I do remember, again, it was probably 2 years ago. If the other one was 3 or 4, then this one was probably about 2 years ago, where it was raining like right before the start.
Right, minutes before.
And everyone's huddled underneath like whatever tent they could huddle under. No one's at the start line, and it must have been for the very first. I think like
it was.
I think the 6 hours.
It was because it was like minutes before we were supposed to go off on time.
And I got on the mic and I said, "People, we're not stopping this race, so you got to come out here because you've got about 30 seconds before I say go." And slowly, people made their way out. And I think within 15 minutes of the start, it had stopped. Of course, the rain was over, and it wasn't a hard rain. It wasn't too crazy, but I'm sure there was enough people, and once one person goes under shelter, everyone just follows. But it stopped, and it was great. The rest of the night was like beautiful weather. The sunset was amazing because of the clouds that were there. It stayed cool for the most part. I think it starts to heat up as the cloud broke and stuff like that. But yeah, it's the one where we're gonna almost guarantee some sort of weather of some sort will give us a good ride. It always gives us a little extra.
But I think even with that course, just being so rocky and stuff, it drains so well.
Yeah.
So even if you get a good rain like the day before, it drains pretty well. Yeah.
Yep. The only time I ever had puddles develop was I did run it the year that so it wasn't canceled, but it was shut down pretty early, like 8 o'clock or something. They had to call it quits, and it was bad. I won't. There are a few times where like the thunder crashed, and I'm like, okay, I'm kind of getting nervous. And there were puddles. There were like big puddles that hold down the back stretch. Was just like this sort of like not a raging river, but it was flowing. There was enough. It was flowing because the water was coming down fast enough. But yeah, it was just a matter of and I managed to finish before they actually made the call to cut it out entirely. I think I just did the 10K one loop or whatever. But yeah, I think it was the only time I've seen water standing on that course, because it drains. It's like McDowell. It drains really, really well, really, really quick, and it doesn't leave any kind of like muddy, under that mud under sand kind of thing. So it's a good course to not have to worry about the weather too.
Yeah, for sure.
Quick question on this one. So we have, just to make it, as long as it is, we add that additional mile plus at the very bottom of that course through the comp, for the juniors, like competitive loop. It's always mixed reactions, right? Some people like it, some people don't. Robert, you're laughing. I'll let you answer.
So here's the funny thing about that. Like during the race, it's different because you're coming off of, coming back to the start finish, and you're kind of coming in pretty hot.
Yep.
And then you got to go over and do this little loop. But when we were out there a few weekends ago for NICAT, that's what we used to warm all the youth riders up.
Okay.
So I rode probably in 30 laps around that thing.
Yep.
So, and it was pretty flowy.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, okay, well, maybe I'll come in with a little more speed this time. But yeah, so I've ridden it a lot in the last couple of weeks, and but it's different. It's just different knowing that like the finish line's right there, but you got to go around and around and around before you go. But
yeah,
Yeah, because I think you're used to like, for me, it's like NBA, you're like, okay, just flow to the finish. And I think like the first year I actually like missed the turn because I did not like. I know it's there, but I did not expect it really.
Right.
But I don't. For me, I don't really mind that it. It's added. It's got you finish burning off whatever fuel you
Yeah.
have, and then you're done. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, 'cause you got that little berm right there. So when you want to hit the berm, but you got to go straight
Yeah,
over the
you
berm
can't
to.
come in
Yeah,
top.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. I'd say it's probably the most difficult part of that course. It's a 1.2 or something like that to mark. Because one, as you know, we do it backwards from what the actual official. So we have to cover all the signs because they're telling you to go one way and we have to go another. Secondly, it's just all the scrub brush, right? So there's no real good environmental markers. It just looks like scrub everywhere. And of course, by the time you get to it, it is going to be dark. So really, you don't have any kind of environment to use, and it's pretty flat.
Yep.
It's flat corners. There's not a whole lot of uphill downhill. You're not going through any washes of any sort, so it's really, really flat. It's just turning. It's like I think of it as like a race car, not NASCAR, but like one that's like a more twisty type course. We're just going left and right.
A little short track,
like a short track.
road course, or something like that. Yeah,
exactly. No berms to help you get around those corners, and some of them are tight enough where a berm would be really nice. You could just hit it really, keep your speed up, but it's a flat speed. And it doesn't offer, for me as a director and marking the course, it doesn't offer a clear sign for like, how do I make this left turn more noticeable? Because they're coming in, you can have a lot of speed.
Yeah.
And again, nothing and environmentally to help you see that it's turning, because it just looks like sort of desert amongst desert. You really have to see like the trail amongst the rest of it. So for me, it's like, I'm like, oh man, every year I go to market, I'm like, maybe I'll just cut it off, enter the parking lot, hang that right, and finish. But then it's like a 6-mile course, and who wants to do just 6 miles? If you're coming out to race, let's get some miles in. So I haven't yet pulled that trigger. And every year, some people say, oh, that wasn't really fun, and every year, and then you get people who liked it and enjoyed the fact that it's like, it's not difficult in the sense of like there's no washes, there's no technical. It's just like burn that last mile out and then come back in. You've got that last portion that's just the parking lot. So if anyone's on your tail, you've got that. All right, I can stand up and like really take it off. Or if you're the one behind, you can stand up and pass them at that time. Nice, wide and open, and kind of let it go. Probably isn't going anywhere. I'm just kind of like I'm talking to talk, I think. At this point. But it's something that I thought about.
Shorter loops or have them do it.
Yeah.
But for the 6 hour, just have them make that turn and just keep going around, because you're not gaining or losing anything by doing it. But
True.
Yeah.
Have you tried doing because it doesn't take the technical segment, right? Like when you start, I guess, is it intentional because it's nighttime and it's a little bit more sketchy?
The part that goes up to the left.
That
NBA uses.
Going out.
Yeah, that's
That might
intentional.
add
We don't use that intentionally.
Got it. Yeah.
And part of it's just because MBAA uses it, and we don't want to we're just going to do the same course at a different time of day.
That makes sense.
So we want it to be a little bit different. So it gives you a reason to come back out and do it.
Mhm.
Partially because it's night and it's a little bit more technical. And again,
Nobody's
these
doing
are
that small little thing.
no
one's doing that.
No, exactly.
Nobody but us.
No, it's again, wanting to be a little bit different, but also it is technical. It's dark. We're here for fun. This isn't quite the competition level that MBAA brings out too. This is more casual fun and stuff like that, and go for it. So we're not trying to break anyone's bike out there.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Awesome. Well, I wore the shirt in honor of it because this is the last time that they had it. But we're adding we're adding a fifth race back to the night races, and that's Hangover. Moving back to McDowell in September. This year it's going to be September 19th, Friday. So yeah, this is the last time that we rode this race was the shirt. So I promise you it won't be this shirt again, but it'll be somewhat similar, something similar, of course. Hangover. It's been a couple of years. Robert, you had a memorable last time on it. Why don't you talk us through the course a little bit?
Yeah. So it starts out pretty chill through the washes a little bit, and then you got the nice rocky climbs. And then, that's for 7 or 8 miles of it, about half of it. And then you hit Jackass Junction, kind of climb out of that. And then it's that nice flowy Pemberton all the way back to the start finish.
Yep.
I didn't make it all the way back last time without a seat and road rash on my leg and broke the frame.
You had the seat.
I did. I had the seat. Seat was in my jersey, not on the bike, and rode the last 8 miles standing up the entire way.
Right.
But, which is good for me, because it's a good lesson for any other racers. Like, if something like that happens and your bike's still rideable, don't give up, keep going. I still won the race, but I paid the price with body and bike parts. But Yeah. So yeah, I'm glad it's back.
Yeah.
A new bike to take out there. I'm ready to rock and roll.
Very good. Awesome. Marianne, how about you? Do you remember the course?
Yeah,
It's
I
been a couple
like
years?
doing Pemberton that direction because I don't really care for the long climb. Like if you do the other direction, like
Sure.
all the way to what is it, Jackass Junction?
Yep.
So yeah, I really like that. It's not at the comp track because there's so many races there, and I think you get tired of it. So I like this a little bit more further in the park.
Yeah.
And it's a nice course. It's one big loop, which I like.
Yep.
So yeah.
That's
Yeah.
our biggest one at like 15 miles. Because
Yeah.
Pemberton's 15.
That was about
so
15
Yeah.
miles. So yeah,
That's
it's the
one of the
biggest
bigger
single
ones.
loop.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's I think, I mean, again, for the local racers and riders, it's a iconic trail to ride. I mean, everyone goes out. It's, you know, it's its own place. Pemberton's it's a great loop to go out on any day to just go for a ride on. So what you're saying is, by the clockwise way that we do it, I had to think for a second.
Yeah.
You would not like to see it, because I've been asked again in the past when we did we were holding it before, about maybe doing like clockwise one year, counterclockwise the next, you know, just to throw some, you know, change in.
Yeah.
Would you support something like that, or would you prefer to just keep doing it clockwise every year? That's what
I
we do.
mean, I would race it anyway, but I think I
Okay.
prefer it that way because it's like if you do like Cactus Cup has part of it where it's like this long climb. I think the NBA races have that too. I can't remember what other race, but it's kind of usually the way you do this loop. And
Okay.
I like when you have like that flowy big descent all the way to the finish. It's really
Yeah.
nice because you're like, okay, I'm done. I get to enjoy the descent and then go to the finish line.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think I definitely preferred it that way, but I wouldn't, I would still do it regardless.
Fair
Yeah, I think
enough.
most of the racing, yeah, they all go up Pemberton rather than
Yeah,
come
they
down
go
Pemberton.
counterclockwise.
but-
Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
I
But I
getcha.
think it'd be fun even just talking about it, even like at, with stunt or with Santan and stuff like that,
doing
doing
it
it
the
the other
opposite.
direction every once in a while. Yeah,
Yeah.
just kind of mix it
Mhm.
up a little bit.
Yep.
Yeah.
I mean, there's certain. I don't think like the white tanks. I don't think you could do it the other direction. I think
It'd be
That'd
pretty
be
bad.
tough.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't
To
think it'd be
climb,
very
yeah.
enjoyable whatsoever.
Right.
But yeah,
Yeah.
Yeah. Might have to do like a bizarro year and like just mix all of them up. You know,
Oh my
figure out a way to do white tanks differently.
Yeah.
But like it'd be fun to kind of just like mix it up and say, all right, you know, welcome to Vertigo. You know, but this is bizarro Vertigo
Bizarro.
to steal from the Superman comics. Yeah, I agree. I like, for Pemberton, I do enjoy the same, because I guess it's the same thing. It's like that long climb on going up the other direction. It's about 4 miles or so, 4 or 5
Yeah.
miles roughly from the trailhead. And it just, after a while, it's like, oh, you know, you're just still cranking at it. And it's not difficult and everything, you know, it's not a steep climb, but it's just long and it just doesn't ever stop. And everyone else is racing past you this
Exactly,
way. And all you're thinking is like,
Yeah.
man, I could be going in that direction too. So yeah, for me, I enjoy getting the work out of the way, the first
Yeah.
half,
Yeah.
and then enjoying that second half where it's like, okay, I can, you know, whether you want to just, if it's not a race and you just want to coast down on a Saturday afternoon, or if it's the race and you want to like stand up and start pedaling and just like take that speed as fast as you can, because you know no one's coming up at that
Right,
at that
right.
time of night.
Mhm.
So it's yeah, it's my favorite part of my thing too, for sure.
Mm.
Well, and we're glad to have it back for sure. Expanding the series to 5 again. Give us an extra time to race out there, and at just a great location, great course. So it's fun to have it back, and I'm looking forward to September to hosting it again. So it'll be fun.
Sweet.
Yeah. We've got 2 other races left. We finish up our night races after Hangover. It starts to get cooled off a little bit during the day, so we can start racing during the day again. In November, we go back to Usury for Tonto Mountain Rides. But first, I'll mention quickly, it's also the same day that we do Swaro Soiree, which is the women's racing clinic. Just as a quick note, we are still in indecision right now as to whether we'll be holding that this year. I am in negotiation with some coaches who might be coming back, the same 2 ladies who were here last year. Steph McDaniel isn't going to come back. She wasn't able to again this year. So we're trying to decide the future of this particular event. We still want to have it. We get a lot of great feedback about it. I think it's important. I had Nat here from the Sonoran Desert Mountain Bicyclists just a few weeks ago, and they've got a women's it's a clinic. It's not a race. that they host a couple of times a year, and it sells out every single time. So it's a matter of, I think, just like letting women in the community know that there is something that is specifically for women out there, because I do know that there's some people who might be a little bit more intimidated by a race, especially. So let's give something that's a little bit smaller, a little bit more intimate. Smaller meaning number of racers and stuff like that. It's still the same distance as all the others. So you're not going. It's not a 3-mile race. It's still 10 or 20. But yeah, I still value the idea of having it. We're just trying to make sure that we get it done the right way. And of course, we need coaches. So getting our coaches in. So for those of you who are looking forward to it, it's not on our official calendar right now, but it's TBD, and we're hoping that we do get to hold it this year. But that also, as I said, it's November 9th. It's held in a conjunction with Tonto Mountain Rides at Usury. We're changing it up a little bit. We're going to drop the 10-mile distance for the adult classes for the Tonto Mountain. So it'll be the 30 cross country, the 50 cross country, the 100-mile cross country, and then the 100 duo. The 100 duo is going to move back into the lower 10-mile loop. So it'll be five each for the racers, maximum 5 each, rather than 2 on the long 50-mile course. And then, of course, the 30-mile gravel grind, which we introduced last year, will be back again this year. So we'll have a 30-mile gravel in addition to those cross-country races as well. Marianne, I don't think you were here for that one last year. Did you miss Tonto? I don't remember.
I think I missed it last year, but
Yeah.
I raced it, I think,
You did.
2 years in a row before that.
And you did the 30, I think.
I did the 30, yeah.
And what do you think of that? What part of that course is your favorite?
I think the 30 has a little bit of everything, but I really like the trail that connects Usury all the way up to Haas. I think it's
Okay.
beautiful. Like once you climb, you get to see, the
Yep.
the view. And then some of the trails up there are pretty fast and flowy as well too. So it's I really like. I think what's not Scorpion. What trail do you use up there? Can't remember. Anyway,
Scorpion's one of the first. Yeah.
Yeah,
Like you
okay.
get into Haas and you kind of make the right-hand turn once you've gone in for a minute. Scorpion's the one that takes you down
yeah,
to the road.
got it. So all of these trails are pretty fun, but yeah, the connection and same on the way back, because it kind of like you take the same trail out and back.
Right.
It's really enjoyable to me. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm.
Couple of changes before I throw it to your opinions, Robert. We're going to sync up all of those races. So I think I'm still working out some of the logistics of it, but I believe instead of we had the gravel, you were there for it last year. The gravel race was the only one that started in the opposite direction and crossed the lot onto Blevins going westbound. Excuse me. Everyone else goes south on Blevins to start, or south on Noso and then onto Blevins. For just kind of ease of trail marking and some of the logistics, we're going to have almost all of those races that go out towards Haas will actually all start going across the lot and onto Blevins. So there'll be a very similar route out of the park over to Haas, etc. You'll do your whichever course distance that you're there, and then coming back the same way. Something else had happened, and this is probably not the things to say on the podcast, but we're all human and there are errors that are made. There's a trail when you get to as you're going up Usury Pass Mountain, and you go. It's before, I'm trying to think in my head here. So there's a parking lot that you go to. You go over like one of the rollover gates, and then you make a quick right, and then like within a few hundred yards, you make a quick left.
Yeah.
That unfortunately got marked incorrectly last year. You went up the wash a little ways and then connected with the Maricopa Trail. Looking at the maps and after seeing the snafu, that trail is actually not on the mapping program that we use when we're creating our trails. So when the map, you kind of do, A, B, C, and magic happens on the map, it connected the way the trails are. Nobody caught the thing, including myself. So it was marked as it was mapped, but it was actually mapped incorrectly because that trail doesn't show up on ours. So we'll have to figure out a way to make sure that because that's the much more fun, especially for the poor gravel guys who got stuck in that wash for a long, long time. It'll be much more fun, that connection from that little parking area to where that connects to the Maricopa Trail a little bit further up, right before the ATV parking lot area. That's a much more fun trail to ride than up that long wash to get to it. So that'll be a quick change. That was, again, just a mishap. Sorry about that for anyone who got stuck in it last year. We'll get that one corrected. But yeah, like I was saying, the only other changes will be that we're going to synergize the cross country and the gravel, so that any of them that are going in that direction towards Hawes will actually all ride the same way, versus there was a few diversions where one went one way, but then they connected right back in like a mile later. Like, it sort of makes no sense. We're just going to keep you all in the same loop to get out there. And then once you hit Hawes, then 30 goes one way, 50 goes one way, then you'll finish your races that way.
Cool.
And then I think that, but with again, as I was saying, the logistics part of it, I'm still working exactly. I think for like the 100-mile duo, it doesn't make sense to go that way. You kind of cut off a bit of that trail, so they'll go down no-so, I think, to start, and do it the regular way for that. For that.
Yeah, I think for the duo, that's the way to do it.
Mm.
So
Yeah, for sure.
anyway, I said I'd come back to you, Robert. Your thoughts on the Tonto Mountain races? You did the 50 last year.
I did the 50, yeah.
for the first time.
I surprised a lot of people, including yourself. You thought I signed up for the wrong race or something when I signed up for the 50. Yeah, I pride myself on knowing the course in the left-hand turn that you mentioned. I was actually leading. Well, it was first, second, third. We were all together, but I was leading that group. We came to that intersection,
Yep.
and we didn't see any markers or anything. So we stopped for a second. Myself and one other rider went up a little bit. The other guy's like, "Oh, I'm going to go left. I'll just figure it out." So he went left. We went up, probably lost 5 minutes or so, came back down. We finally said, you know what, let's just go this way. Saw some other parts of our group coming up. Was like, yeah, I think it's this way. And then, of course, you start seeing all the markers, and we were good to go. But that one was tough for me. I was so distraught with, I knew first place was gone.
Yep.
Third was with me like the entire time. So I'm like, I got to try to drop this guy at some point. Didn't take any food with me. Didn't stop at any aid stations. So when you looked at my Garmin, it was like a little over 6 hours, 53 miles or something, because we went a little extra.
You got extra.
With zero food whatsoever.
Wow.
So cramping pretty good on the way back, and still ended up finishing second. And I was completely just out of it when I got back. I just sat there at the picnic table with my head down, like just out of it.
Yep.
So much. I didn't realize how much of I call it the older part of Hawes that course had in it. Brand new bike, first time I had raced it. So the old part of Hawes is pretty rough, but I walked a lot of it.
Yep.
And then just that rush of like, I got to get back. Then once you cross back across the road into Usury, then you're like, yeah, we're almost there. But, yeah, it was tough. I'm glad I did it though, but it was a tough 50 miles.
Yeah.
And with no food,
Yeah.
I figured out I have to eat a gel at least every 30 minutes to keep my fuel. So if I stay 5 hours, I would have died on the
That's been my thing too. Like, I've raced this entire time with not drinking a lot of water, so I just don't think about it.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But when you're doing a 50 like that, and then the group did kind of break up after a while. It's like, yeah, you need to drink and eat. And so I remember there was that one aid station that you cross over the little guard.
Yes.
And there was an aid station right there. I crossed over. I said, where do I go? There's a cross back over. I just turned around. No, I'm good. And I just took off.
Yeah.
But I should have grabbed something and, waited for 30 seconds, but I didn't. So yeah, it hurt. I paid the price.
Like you said, I do remember, that says 50, right? And you didn't, it's not a 2, it's a 5. You really want to do that. I was surprised that you went for it, but glad you tried it out. I got your feedback from it. It's a newer course. That 50-mile loop is newer to the race in general. We changed it up a bit a few years ago. So I'm still getting, feedback from all the racers who do it. So I love hearing it. And yeah, you're absolutely right that west part of Hawes is definitely gnarly. I would say it's probably very deceiving until you get there, because you're like, oh, this is pretty good. Like, it gets a little bit of the climbs, you got a little bit of descents. It's mostly kind of flowy, a little bit of rocks. It's nothing too crazy. And then you get all the way over there and you're like, this is different. I'm on the moon.
Right.
Like,
well, especially when you're, 25, 30 miles in,
right.
And now you're hitting that stuff.
Yes.
And you're just like, oh my goodness.
Yeah. It throws a big challenge for about, 10, maybe not 10 miles, but there's probably like just under 10 miles of like some really good, gnarly stuff before you get back. We bring you back out onto those trails, and you kind of reverse track it back into the park. And it's a little bit easier to finish up on. But again, it's distance, and you've worked your legs pretty hard by that time.
Yeah. A lot of climbing.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I think too, like at one point I realized how far, like in Hawes I was, because I think you get up to the road almost a little bit, and you're like, I know exactly where I'm at. I'm in the middle of nowhere right now. I got to go all the way back to Usury.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. We use all of that property.
Yes.
We spread it all out. Yep. So yeah, it's Tonto Mountain Rides. That'll be November 9th. And it's a great one. Again, like we start racing during the day, so it's a great day. Still can get a little bit toasty during the middle of the day, but it's not the horrible. And for unless you're the 100-mile rider, on the cross country side, the single, you're not going to be out there all day for the most part. You're going to be back in by say noon, 2 o'clock for most racers. So you're not in the heat for too long. It gets warm, but you're finishing up as it gets warm. And then one last one. Well, actually, I guess it's not last. It's our last one of this calendar year. Frenzy Hills. We go back to McDowell for the third time. Unfortunately, we go back to the comp track. Sorry, Miriam. It's not all comp track. It's only just a little bit of it.
Yeah.
In fact, it's almost like a mix of the comp and of Hangover, because you're using a lot of Pemberton on that one. So Frenzy Hills will be December 7th, the date that will live in infamy this year. Frenzy Hills, same thing we did with Tonto. We knocked off the 10-mile for the adult categories. In fact, we did for the kids. Sorry, the kids 7 and 10 is also no more. Everybody's going to do at least the 25-mile loop. So for the kids, junior loops, there'll still be the 2 age group divisions. We'll have safety sweeps out there to follow them. But to be honest, aside from a couple of places on that long loop, there's really no major obstacles to worry about. To think about, even not to worry about, but just to think about. And on top of that, every other race in Arizona uses that long loop. So these kids, even if they're 8 years old, have already done it 3 times this year because they did NICA, they did ACA, they did MVAA. Maybe they're out at does Cactus Cup go that far? But they're out there, a number of times doing it. So they've all hit these features.
Yeah.
So again, I think for some of our side of things, the race directing and logistical side, it made sense to knock some of those off and just change it and say, we've got this great 25-mile loop and just about everybody can ride it.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's just send them all out on it, and we'll obviously take care of the juniors with safety sweeps to make sure that there's no issues, but everyone else should be riding it. So for the cross country side, we've got 25, 50, and 100. And then of course in the 50, you've got the single or duo option. And with the 100, you've got the duo, quad, and solo option. Bring back a gravel grind here. That's 2 or 3 years old at this point. Also 25, 50, and 100 with the same duo and duo quad options for the 50 and 100. So you can get a team together. 4 people who are like solid 25-mile riders. They don't have to go for 50 or 100. They can get on a team and do the 100-mile quad together. If you're a studette in the bike and you want to do a whole 100 by yourself, do 4 loops on that 25-mile course. And they are different. Obviously, I should specify that too. The gravel course is different from the cross country. They do intersect many times throughout, but it really takes the best gravel of McDowell and loops it together into its own 25-mile course, taking out a lot of the rocks that we talked about earlier with the hangover course. All right, Frenzy Hills. I know you guys have both done this one as well. Robert, I'll start with you this time. What are your thoughts on this race?
So this last year we did the 4-person 100-mile.
That's right.
I went out first, so like 38 degrees.
It was cold this year.
And I froze the entire lap. You get to the point where you're like, I don't know if my hands and feet are like numb from riding or if they're frozen. I froze the entire loop. But great. I mean, Escondido's involved in it. It's okay because it's in the beginning. So you get it out of the way.
Yeah.
But same thing. Of course, we do climb up Pemberton a little bit, stuff like that. But a lot of the flowy stuff on the way back is fun.
Yep.
And I think the hardest part is just coming off of that long loop, coming back, knowing that you start. It's one of those courses where you start seeing the venue.
Yeah.
But you're not going straight to the venue. You're starting to keep going away from it. So you're almost there, and then you're not almost there. But no, great 25-mile, and it's suitable for all racers and ages and bikes. It's a gravel mountain, so it's a fun course.
Very cool. Yeah, like you were saying, it's almost kind of the opposite we were talking about for Hangover, because it isn't the other direction, so you do have to make that climb up. But we actually knock out all of that step up climbing that you do on the other end if you're going clockwise, right? You don't go down a lot of it. That's when we cut you over, connect you to the comp track onto the long loop, and then send you back out for the last 10 miles.
Yeah.
So you kind of miss the harder part that we were talking about, of like that we liked of the Hangover loop by going out the other way. But we still have you on some of that really good flowy stuff in the middle, because there's a lot of you forget about it sometimes. I think when I think of the Pemberton Loop, it's the chunky stuff on the east side, I guess, south side. It's the long flow on the other side. And you kind of forget that in between Jackass and that other Ramada, there's a
Yeah.
lot of just like flow
Yeah,
and there's
exactly.
some like
Yeah.
rolling stuff. It really doesn't, I think from my perspective, from my memory of it, either way directionally, it's not harder or less hard because it's all the same. I mean, it's up and down, it's up and down. So you're like, you're rolling through and you're climbing these little, it's not really punchy, but climbing these little bits, then you get a little, a little downhill, and you're climbing a little bit and a little bit downhill. And that goes for like I don't know, a good 2 or 3 miles, just kind of like along the backside. It's not difficult, it's fun. But it's more technical than that flowy part. That's the really fun stuff when you're
Right,
going
right.
down the other way. Yeah, and then we use the comp track. The comp track's a little bit different. Certainly has a different feel to it when you're riding it. A lot more chunky, right? Definitely a better chance to lose a chain or slash a tire along that part of the trail than the other half. Couple of features thrown in there. It definitely has a little bit more of the natural environment involved in the, built into the trail, where there's a couple of good drops, there's a couple of good punchy climbs. I love that when you kind of get to the ridge at the very far side that starts downhill, it's still all chunky, it's still all big rock, but
Right.
you're finally going downhill and you can still get speed even amongst all those rocks. You're
Mhm.
just like banging down everything. One of my favorite parts of that whole trail.
Yeah.
So definitely a favorite of mine. Marianne, it's been a minute. I
Yeah.
think that one you missed also last year with us.
Yeah, I did, but
So
I've done
2 years ago or so, years ago last time.
Yeah, I think I've done the duo, and then I've done the 25-mile loop, like the one loop as well.
Yep.
Yeah, I think it's a fun race to, I would say, wrap up the year, not the season, because our seasons are a little bit off because
Right.
we race in the winter. But yeah, I think it's a really good race, and then before you kind of take a break for Christmas and all that good stuff.
There you
So
go.
yeah, I like that one too.
Fun. Well, and then so the last official one, I guess, of our season, I always look at as the official season ender because we have a couple of months off before we start all over again, is Prickly Petal in January of 2026. This year, right now, or I guess next year, it's slated for January 31st. So I think we're moving it back another week than what it was. I think it was the third weekend this past year, or this past January. It'll be the very last Saturday in January next year. We introduced a 15-mile sprint this year. The original race, I should step back just so that everybody listening knows. Original race starts in Cave Creek, right downtown Cave Creek in front of the Flat Tire Bike Shop. Takes you up into Spur Cross recreation area and gets you onto the Maricopa Trail. And then it's all Maricopa Trail from there to Lake Pleasant, the finish line. 36 miles point to point. Pretty gnarly trail as well. About as close to backcountry trail as we have right here in the county, in Maricopa
Yeah.
County, without getting too far out of town. But it's, I think, a fun trail nonetheless to ride rather, not to get to. And then this year, like I said, so yeah, we introduced a 15-mile sprint, kind of a shorter version, starts at the Pioneer Living History Museum, just off the 17 there. And you kind of you've got that whole like flat section to really get going. So it's about 5 miles or so of fairly flat, straight, kind of a dirt road before you get back into like more single track stuff, and then a little bit more terrain before the last climb up to the lake. So I'll start with you again, Robert, since you did the sprint this year, and you did the full last year.
Yeah, I've done both. Yeah.
So you've got the perspective on both. Tell me about the sprint first off, and I guess tell everybody about your experience on the sprint, but then like the whole race, just kind of your thoughts in general.
Yeah. So the one this year that I did was the 15-mile sprint. It was cool just to kind of slow roll it within Pioneer
Yes.
Museum area.
Yep.
And then once you hit the pavement, we were on.
Yep.
So I think it was about a mile and a half on the road, which was great for me because I could kind of hammer fest that before I got into the dirt.
Yep.
But the funny thing for me is you got, I think so 15 years though, these people are almost 20 miles into their race as we're running into traffic and stuff.
Sure.
So I'm coming up on these people at Mach whatever speed, and they're like doing this, like, where's this guy coming from? So I keep telling them, no, I'm in the 15, I'm in the 15, because now you can just feel the energy drain out of it. I'm like, I am dying, and this guy's just coming up on me. And,
Right. Yeah.
So, but the sprint was fun. Once again, I got towards the end and totally forgot about all the climbs to get out and everything. I was like, I don't remember all these climbs.
Yeah.
And then once again, like same thing as last year, like, where is this water? Because you're going to this lake and you don't see it until you pop up on the road, and there it is.
Yep.
But I will say though, the previous year doing the full 36, I did miss a lot of that.
Okay.
Some of the climbing in the beginning I didn't miss so much.
Right.
But some of the chunky downhill, some of the flowy stuff as you're, I think going under the 17. So I did miss a lot of that.
Sure.
But when I was done with the 15, I didn't miss doing the longer ones. So,
Okay.
but yeah, so it was kind of cool being able to do both of them so far.
Yep.
But the sprint's a sprint, kind of showed me kind of where I was at.
Yeah.
Where I can still give it, as much as I can for an hour and 20 minutes or whatever it was.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Any thoughts yet on 2026? Which distance, or if you'll come back and do it?
Yeah, I'll
Definitely do
go
it?
back and
Okay.
Yeah, I'll probably go back to 36.
Okay.
Yeah, just had a different feel to it, but the 15 was fun.
Cool.
Yeah.
Awesome. Marion, you did the full 2 years ago. Did quite well.
Yeah, I loved that one.
Yeah.
I was really bummed this year because I was sick and I did not race it. Was camping in Tucson the few days before, and I don't know, probably too much time outside. I don't know if I was like sick as a dog, and I was like, I'm not getting on the bike this morning. But that's first of all, I love the point-to-point concept. I think it's awesome. It's a tough course. It definitely has a lot of different terrain. The first climbs are tough into spur cross, but it's just gorgeous the whole time. And then when you get closer to Lake Pleasant, I think, like you said, those last climbs, you're like, oh, I forgot I still have to climb out of it. And then all the way to the finish, I mean, that was kind of a struggle. I was like, okay, you can do this. It's like the mental game at the end. But it's really enjoyable to just go along and know that you're going to go from point A to point B. It's not like a loop. I think it's a little bit different. So yeah.
Yep. Yeah, Marion, you missed a couple of things this year. Just some changes to it. Nothing to the actual course itself. Well, I mean, slight changes. So like I guess I'm thinking like inside Lake Pleasant Park. So once you go through that kind of riparian area that's like all wet, and you go over the bridge, right? You come up that little hill, cross the road, and that's when you hit that with those final. So to take it back just a step, the parks, the park services, Maricopa Trail Foundation, Maricopa County, like just all the county people who get involved and back this have been like really, really big supporters now that it's come back. So it's been really, really cool to see that support from all those entities helping out. This year when we were pre-walking the course in Lake Pleasant, we just kind of, I don't know why it didn't hit us last year, or maybe it did and didn't hit they didn't speak up. But Coy, she's the park superintendent over there at Lake Pleasant. She's like, wait a second, this part of the fencing can totally come out. And so at the point where you cross that road, right? So you go over the bridge, you go through the wet area, and then you go up that little thing and you cross the road, and you kind of go up and then cross the road again. At both entry and exit points of that, it's like one of those opening gates. I think it's not a rollover gate. You actually, if you can either hop it over if the gate's been left open, or you'll have to get off your bike and open the gate. But just to the left of both of those gates, we can completely separate the horizontal bars and open it completely up. So she's like, oh my God, because I think last year we just opened it. We had the gates held open, so you guys didn't have to hop off the bike. This year we're like, oh, we don't even have to hold them open. We can just, we'll come in race morning, just take those down, and then make sure it's flagged so you can really see it really well, and then zip right through it. And you've got 6 feet or 8 feet of like open space, not this little 3-foot thing to navigate. So that was kind of like just a cool little thing that there was just again, it's sort of like the entities that are backing us and helping us put this on are looking out for us too, and looking out for all of you guys too. So that was kind of cool. And then what was I going to say on the other one? I got so excited about the fence that I can't remember what the other part I was going to say.
Yeah, they're looking out for stuff like that.
But I think just the growth of the event itself. I know from the Maricopa Trail and Park Foundation, from their side of things, it's a benefit for them. It's their biggest fundraiser of the year. And so they would love to see, first off, we want to get to the numbers where we were before COVID, when the race went underground for a few years, stopped being raced for a few years. So we'd love to get to those numbers, but then of course increase it to different things, add different distances, add different disciplines. Duathon has been proposed with like a run, bike, run kind of thing, where that would probably be inside the park, kind of a thing, but turn it into like a full weekend long festival. We're talking probably 2 or 3 years out now, building to that kind of numbers. But they would love to see some, additional things thrown in. We got the park, Lake Pleasant to set aside camping for us this year at the
Nice.
group campground, which is just a half a mile from the finish. So it's a real easy spot to like, and they gave it to us for the whole weekend. So even though the race was on Sunday, we had it Friday night, Saturday night, and Sunday night spaces available for everyone. So that was kind of cool. We'll be doing that again next year as well. And hoping to turn that part into even its own event, like maybe show a movie at night, or have like a little like kids skills competition like over in that parking lot, like right before dinner time or something like that. But make a whole like make a whole kind of weekend with different activities. Maybe even throw a triathlon and see if someone can swim part of the lake. Nice cold water in January.
Yeah, there you go.
But yeah, I look forward to that one. It's a pretty cool addition, newer addition to our races here at Aravaipa. So looking forward to seeing what we can do with it. And no major changes for 2026 that I'm aware of as of yet. I know there's been some things we've tossed around in some early meetings, but I don't think at this point we're really going to choose any of them. I think we're just going to go with what we had last year and just work to build it, bigger, better, that kind of thing before we add a few more pieces onto it. So yeah, Prickly Petal is kind of the end of the season, even though it's the beginning of the calendar year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
What are your thoughts on Marianne? I'll go to you. What are you looking forward to this year? Whether it could be Aravaipa, it could be something else. Do you have any other big plans, other big races on the calendar? Doing anything else with Zia Rides that we need to know about?
Actually,
I like Zia Rides, just just giving
yeah,
her a little
they
little
have
grief.
good gravel races.
Yeah.
Well, I've done Down to Dusk also last year for the first time, by the way.
Okay.
Which was cool. This year I think I'm just looking forward to those races, like the night races. The Big Woody is a big highlight for me for the year. And I'm actually going out of state in October. I'm registered for the Little Sugar Classic in Bentonville.
In Bentonville. I was just watching a YouTube video on them just the other day.
Yeah, so we've been there a couple times, rode the trails. They're pretty amazing.
Yeah.
So want to, try my hand at some of their local races over there. So yeah.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Are you going to go back to Payson for the Payson gravel, the Zia Rides one? I'm sorry, the name.
I might. Yeah, it's called the Pinewood Showdown.
Pinewood Showdown.
I would. Yeah, it's overall because I like going to races not just for the race itself. It's like the whole event or the whole weekend.
Okay.
So when there's a good vibe and a cool place to camp, it's always a plus. So I'll probably do that one. And then the Tour of the White Mountains, I've been doing that one for the past 5 years. It's also a big highlights.
So you're gonna go back for both?
What's that?
You're gonna go for both?
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
And then probably do Tonto I really like as well. Big Woody and Tonto are really cool outside of the night series. So yeah.
Okay. Excellent. Well, and I think I misspoke and said Payson going back, so I'll correct myself. It's in Pine. Yeah. But I definitely do want to look myself into the Pinewood Showdown as a potential, because I looked interesting last year, and I would just wish I couldn't make it, but I'm like, maybe I'll look into it. I haven't looked at it this year for the dates when it falls, but definitely one that I'd like to consider anyway.
He's got a gravel bike now, so.
Yeah, there you go. I would recommend it.
I'll be honest. Since I got the bike last summer, I've really, really enjoyed getting onto the gravel and getting off the cross country, and I love getting back on the stump jumper too. Don't get me wrong, but man, I've really had a good time on the gravel and just exploring what I can do on that bike and that type of terrain. Yeah. So checking that out for sure. Robert, how about yourself? What are you looking forward to this year, Aravaipa or not? Do you have any big races that you're looking forward to?
Aravaipa, obviously the longer. I probably do the 6 hour. I'm getting a little slower than I was over the past few years, so I need to get into the long distance stuff. But I think that the only travel, I think we're trying to put a decent sized team together for the 24 hours in the Enchanted Forest in New Mexico.
Cool.
Yeah.
I think I did that in 2016.
It's another Zia Ride.
Blast, but
honestly, okay.
just hadn't been out there for a while. So I think we're gonna put a team together for that. So that's cool. But and then of course, like I said, NICA's ending here in a couple of weeks, and then ACA starts up in a few months. So back on the coaching thing, and just like you were saying with some of the, still volunteering probably for Dawn to Dusk. Just being in the environment, seeing everybody.
Okay.
Right. Just being in the mix and seeing everyone and hanging out. But I think this year I want to try to focus on a little bit of the longer races, because I think that's where my future's probably going to be taking me. So
Yeah, just got to work on the stopping for food
Yeah.
or bringing it with
Yeah.
you,
Or bringing
right?
it with me,
Put it in
yeah.
that pocket, put it in your pocket,
Yeah.
and
Which
figure
I
out.
think that's been the problem with me over the years with doing the longer stuff. Is I've always been a sprinter, and I can go for an hour, hour and a half max speed. I'm
Right.
good. Now it's 4 or 5 hours or 6.
Right.
So what to feed myself with
Or so-
and back down a little bit and not go full speed the entire
Yeah.
time. So
True.
it'll be a struggle.
Yeah.
We'll see
Yeah.
how.
You'll have to figure out what actually works, right? Not just like goo might not be your thing. You might have to go with some solid foods or
Yeah.
like sweet versus salty, or there's going to be a whole boy.
Yeah.
You got to start practicing
Yeah,
more
it's a
than
different
Well,
ball
it's funny.
game.
So
Dust off that bike.
so even when we did, I know where my bike is. But even when we did 24 Hours in the Pueblo, Zane Kugler said, "Hey, take one of these and do this your half hour before and do this and do this." I'm like, okay,
Yep.
so I'm doing all this stuff. I'm like, yeah, it actually felt pretty good. So some people are forcing me to take things and
Yep.
try things, but
Yeah. Well, Marianne goes every
Yeah.
30 minutes, right? Do you have a timer on your watch or whatever that goes off?
No,
or-
because I kind of I adapted depending on the course. If I
Of
know
course,
like the
yeah.
spots where I can like feed my face where it's like flatter and I don't lose too much time, I might do it like 20 minutes or like go like 45 minutes. But I figured that I need those carbs, and I've experienced it at one of the Cactus Cup, like because it's a 40-mile loop, and I did not have enough food, and I crossed the finish line. I don't know how, and I went straight to the ground, and they had to take me to the med tent and give me a whole
no.
bunch of
Wow.
glucose because I was like completely out.
Oh, wow.
I had nothing left. So I usually like overpack my food, but gels work pretty well for me. I don't eat solid food during races, so yeah.
Very good. Yeah, I kind of find myself more if I'm running, I can have solid and prefer solid food to gels. But if I'm on a bike, I prefer the gels to the solid. And I don't know if it's the action of like your body's not moving as much, but the chewing is too much, and the gels just quick, easy.
Yep.
Whereas running, I can actually take that time to like eat a banana or eat a waffle or something like that.
That makes sense.
I could slow down to a hike if I need to, but for some reason for me, I know it's like on the bike, I've discovered as I get much longer into the distances I've been doing, it's like I would much prefer to like drink or gel my food versus having an actual real food to actually dig out and chew and whatnot. So playing with it myself too.
I do
But,
some of our group rides. Like I just don't drink a lot of water when I ride. So I'll say, okay, when everyone else takes a drink, I'll take a drink.
yeah.
Just to
Yeah.
remind myself, like, hey, drink some water. Because you do some of these rides, you're like, oh, I haven't even touched my bottle yet. And everyone else, like, I got to fill back up.
I was gonna
Yeah.
say, so Robert, I mean, like when I first met Robert and was getting to know him too, and he'd come
Like a
back in,
camel.
he'd come back in from, and a lot of times it was just a single lap sprint. You're in under an hour, and your water is still at the very, like you haven't even taken.
I remember
you
showing a
don't
few of my
take-
bottles, like, hey,
like,
look at this.
it's
I
still at
didn't even touch
it's
it.
still right at
Just
the
leave
very
it. You
top.
don't need it.
It's like, why did you
Extra
bring
weight.
that, 16 ounces
Yeah.
with you? That's like extra weight. You could have gotten in a couple minutes faster.
Yeah, I've been terrible about that my entire race career. But it's worked. It worked up until now.
Right, exactly. Well, I think that does it for us and our race calendar for this year. Thank you guys for coming back once again for like the 4th or 5th time, Marianne. Welcome back
thank
to
you.
the
Welcome
Cool
back
Kids
to the
Club
team.
and
Yeah.
the team. Hopefully those kits come in real soon so we can get you out there sporting the new colors. And we'll see you in a couple of weeks now, maybe about a month or so, at Sinister. Looking forward to seeing you guys there and everyone else, and it's gonna be a good year.
All right, let's do
That's
it.
good.
Yeah. All right. Thanks everyone for joining us and watching another episode. This has been great having you all out, and we'll catch you up next time. Thanks.
Thanks, Aaron.